name for me?
Randy Fine.
Is it F-I-N-E?
Yep, like good.
Okay. All right. So we were informed that you had an issue with Robert Burns, right?
I mean, it's an issue with I'd say he's the source of it. He's one of the issues. It was an issue with kind of three people altogether. So, but I can walk you through the issue that happened in this situation.
Okay. So go ahead whenever you're ready.
So on Friday, whatever day that was, last Friday, let's look that up. October 27th. A man started banging on the door of our house in Melbourne Beach. I was not home. I was in Nevada. But the person who was home answered the door.
You say the person who was home. Can you tell us who it is?
Yeah, he's a relative, Maxime Reebok. So just a relative of mine. He's French, so not even in the country, went home.
Okay.
Banged on the door, opened the door, and there was a man there who said, I wasn't there, so I'm rephrasing what they said. I'm here to serve Randy Fine with papers. He's like, I'm not taking anything. And closed the door. Man taped papers to the door. The papers purported to be a subpoena for a deposition in a case that would be tomorrow. The deposition 5 days later, 5 business days later tomorrow. That obviously is not why I called you. On Monday, a man, presumably the same one, showed up at my house again, banged on the door. This time, mother of my kids, Wendy, opened the door, and again, I'm here to serve Randy Fine with papers for a subpoena. She wouldn't take them. I don't think he even knew who she was. She didn't identify herself. And she said no and closed the door. Guy stuck papers to the door again. One thing she told me is that he was filming her with his cell phone camera, like in her face, the whole time. So he left. Shortly thereafter, I'm here in this office, sitting actually at this desk, and a man comes up. I have pictures of him. Now, we have a sign on the door that says, if you saw, we don't do walk-ins.
It's an appointment only.
It's appointment only. It's a security issue, in LARP, particularly after October 7th. So we don't just because we've had some real special people come in here, so people have to call. No call. The man starts banging on the door, like banging. Mm-hmm. We get scared, particularly given what's going on in the world. And shelter, which is what we've been told that we should do. The guy spends the next, it felt like 15 minutes, banging not only on the door, but on all 3 windows. Mm-hmm. Banging, demanding entrance to the office. Not only was he banging on all the windows, he put his cell phone up to these windows and, attempted to film inside. I don't know whether you can or not, but these windows, if you saw, have sort of a film on them,
right.
So privacy film. But he was putting his thing up and banging, and we're sort of hiding. It was very, very frightening.
Do you have any surveillance video of like him doing any of that?
I don't have video, but I took some pictures of him.
Okay.
So I've got some photographs, which I'm happy to share. In part because I wanted to know who it was.
Do you know who it is?
I do now.
Okay.
I'll tell you when I figured it out.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you now. His name is John Aiani.
Okay.
And the reason we know this is in one of the as I'll share in a minute, at some point, someone identified him with the first name of John, and we got one of the pictures. He's wearing a T-shirt. One of the pictures I took later on, I zoomed in on a logo on his shirt, and it says Pinpoint Investigations. And I Googled Pinpoint Investigations, and Pinpoint Investigations is owned by a 61-year-old named John Aiani. So, John, the guy looks about 60. So that's who it is. So that's how I figured it out. I do not remember him giving us his name or anything like that while he was banging on the door. I honestly don't remember anything he said. We were just hoping we didn't get killed. So he leaves after about an hour. And again, I'm not exactly sure how long it was, but it was a long time. And later that afternoon, we get a voicemail, which we have, and we can play for you, and which I've transcribed from an attorney named Jessica Travis. Miss Travis said that she says, my investigator, John, that's his first name, is trying to serve you with a subpoena. We have video of you hiding behind your desk. If you don't want that video released, you will come outside and get the subpoena. So at that point, I'm listening to this and I'm like, I'm not an expert at this, but this doesn't sound normal. First off, it's my understanding I don't have to make it easy for someone to serve me. And this sort of whole banging on windows and filming in, and then a lawyer calling and basically extorting me and saying if I don't do what they want, they're going to release video that she claims is embarrassing. This just doesn't sound right. So I talked to somebody who is a private investigator, a friend of mine, and he's like, yeah, no, this is not how this thing works. And he said, you should file a complaint with the clerk's office, which I did the next day. Wrote it all up. I called. They were like, oh, yeah, this is not okay. I wrote it up. I sent it over. And the clerk's office reached out to me later that day and said, bad news, we can't help you with this private investigator because with this process server because he's not a process server. There is no process server named John that looks like this. And she said, not only that, but I looked through all of the pictures of all of the process servers because I was so horrified, and there's no one who looks like that who is a process server. So this guy's not a process server who came to your house twice, who showed up at your office, who banged on your windows.
That's one of the things I was going to ask. The person that was banging here, you think that's the same one that went to your house?
Wendy identified him. I showed her the pictures. She said, yeah, that's the same guy.
Okay.
So yeah, so she says it's the same guy. And the timing also works. I mean, like, he clearly left my house and drove here. So, but I showed her the photo, and she said, yeah, same guy. I can't confirm. I haven't shown the picture to Maxime, who tried to get it the previous Friday, though it's not something I certainly can. So, given that, the guy's not a process server, was basically trying to break his way in here and video inside, which I would presume we have some expectation of privacy in our office. At that point, I decided to get you all involved. Then the last part about this woman, Miss Travis, she's an attorney in two separate cases, where I am allegedly going to be a witness. Ironically, I don't have anything to do with either of them. One of them is a lawsuit between two school board members, Jennifer Jenkins and Matt Susan. Miss Jenkins is suing Matt Susan in the school board. I don't have anything to do with it, but they have decided I should be a witness. And the other case is a criminal case against Robert Burns for assaulting a woman named Karen Colby. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I have nothing to do with it. But again, for whatever reason, Miss Travis wants me to be a witness. I don't know. I would presume they were trying to serve both of these when they came to the office here. But unlike at my house, they did not leave anything outside here. The last part of this, before I get to your questions, is later that afternoon is when I found it. I got an email from Robert Burns, who sent it to my personal email and my official email. Now remember, I'm a witness by his own in his case. That he's listed me as a witness. It's an email from him, and it's subject duck, duck, goose. Ducking behind your desk, Randy. This is going to make a great video. So there you go. There's a copy of it.
Okay.
And Mr. Burns runs a fake blog in our community called the Space Coast Rocket. So, and I was like, well, this sort of, again, I'm a witness. I don't think you're supposed to threaten witnesses in your cases. And sort of taunting.
Is this our copy?
What?
Is this our copy or?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of so my issues were the fact the guy's not a process server, banging all over the place.
When he was banging, did he have papers with him?
I have no idea. I was hiding.
Okay. Did he ever say anything to you?
No, because we never opened the door.
No, I mean, did he yell anything?
He was definitely yelling. He was definitely yelling things. I do not remember what they were. Now, theoretically, he has them filmed, but look, I had to have security in Tallahassee from Capitol Police because I'm the only Jewish legislator, Republican Jewish legislator in the legislature, and so I've gotten sort of special instructions about how to be safe, and so I don't. Anna may remember. It was so loud that in John Tobias' office next door, and that's one of the people you'll talk to, they heard him. That's how loud it was. And maybe he remembers what the guy said. I don't. I don't even remember him saying his name. So that's, that's, and what I do know is he didn't call and say, hey, I'm outside. I want to deliver a subpoena. Can I come in? We probably wouldn't have let him in because I don't want to be served, but there was no phone call. It was banging.
Can I just say outside of all this though, like, why didn't you call the cops?
At the time?
And the reason why I say that is...
I don't know.
Well,
I did later.
No.
Why didn't I do it while he was banging on the doors?
Because what I'm thinking is...
Yeah.
Now, I understand you being concerned about somebody, like, threatening your safety, okay?
Yeah.
But, I mean, point blank, you got some guy banging on your windows, on your door, you don't want him here. You call 911 and say, hey, there's some weird guy at my door, and I don't want him here. And if you didn't want to get involved in that, have her do it, so that way you're like kind of outside of it.
I don't know. It didn't.
No, I'm telling you that kind of for the future.
Yeah, no, you're right. We should have called
because then Palm Bay's going to come.
Yeah,
maybe,
and then scare him off.
Well, not scare him off. They're going to document who he is.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to document a reason, which all that would be public record later. You could look it up and say he says he's a process server and he's here to serve papers. Well, I don't know that you have an obligation to answer his request.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that's kind of outside of what I typically do, as far as like when you're required or not required to do that. I've never entertained or thought about that even.
I've never had anything like this happen here, so.
Well, I just tell you,
it's good advice for next time.
Well, I mean, if you're at your house, I would definitely do it.
Well, at my house, well,
either way,
they opened the door. They assumed it was, like the lawn guy just being really aggressive or something. And in both cases, they opened the door. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't call, but I didn't.
I'm not saying you did anything wrong.
Yeah, no, but I should have. It's a good. We should have. I was just sort of taken aback by the whole thing.
I mean, because this is your place.
I agree, and this is not a government building.
But aside from that,
this
is your private property, which means it may be open to the public if you invite them in, but you also have the right to basically trespass anybody from here that you don't want here, and you don't have to give a reason. This is your property. I don't want them here. Make them leave. And then we give them, I say we, you're in the city of Palm Bay here, I think.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so then Palm Bay would say, hey, they don't want you here no more. Trespass guy. Now, I don't know. I've never had to do that to a process server. That might.
They probably have the right to do that.
Well, they have a right
but he's not a process server.
Well, there's that. But that could have been one of the things that might have gotten ironed out. And then another thing would be, it might ruffle some feathers if they are a process server. They do have a right to come knock on your door, but they don't have a right to harass you.
Well, that was unquestionable.
And it may be going down those lines. So.
Yeah, well, he was very, very aggressive. And I think he knew I was here because my car, that's my car. Right. It was actually parked in that same place. Yeah. And I don't know that he ran my tags or anything, but it's not unknown that I drive, a blue Tesla. So he had reason to think I was here in the building.
So, you don't have video here?
No.
Do you have video at your house?
No.
Okay. What was the time difference between him being at your house and then him here?
At time such that he left there and drove over here.
Okay, you don't know the exact time now? Okay.
No.
What are we saying, like ballpark?
Like 15, 20 minutes, 15, yeah.
All right.
And he may have done that on the Friday before as well,
but no one was
here. So I don't know how many times he has done this. I only know twice at my house and once here. And interestingly, after the voicemail and the email, they've not tried to deliver the papers Tuesday or yesterday.
Okay, so you don't have the papers still, or do you have the ones that were taped to your house?
I have I mean, maybe they're at home. I have a picture of it, but I have a picture of what was taped to my house.
Okay.
Nothing was ever taped here.
Okay.
No.
Do you have something?
I was going to ask. I really haven't had many, if any, cases involving a public official. But with that being said, like, I assume you have some sort of an attorney you can bounce questions off of.
Yeah, and it was an attorney who told me to.
I specifically actually didn't ask you whether, because I know that in some service situations where they're trying to serve you subpoenas or injunctions, they can actually do what's called a drop serve, where if they see you there, they drop it, and that counts for them as serving it. But when they dropped it at your house, i.e. taped it to your door, like, do you have any legal obligation to do anything with that?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I'm asking, like, and if you...
And if I did, but they didn't see me. I wasn't at home.
Right.
I don't really... And interestingly, and this is part of why I decided to call the cops, because it feels threatening. Mm-hmm. John Tobias has also been served in one of these two cases. Mm-hmm. But he was served by a process server, and they didn't serve him. They apparently took it to the school board office, and they delivered it to, like, the school board attorney. But it was a real process server. In my case, I get a guy who's not a process server, who's just banging on the doors and windows. So two people in offices next to each other. One, they go by the book. The other one, I have some madman banging on the doors and windows who's not a process server. So I want, look, Burns has harassed me for years, and the fact that, he sent me that email indicates, that he knew exactly what had happened with the attorney. So my thoughts are, it's harassment. And the guy out here, he was harassing me, trying to video inside the building, pretending to be a process server. I would think all of those are crimes. The attorney trying to extort me, threatening me if I don't go outside and get the process, as well as the fact that she hired this guy who she knew wasn't a process server, and then obviously Burns' message trying to intimidate me as a witness in his case. So for all of those,
are you a witness for him or against him?
Yeah, the state
For him?
I'm on his. Yeah, I'm on their witness list.
So
I don't want to do it, to be fair. I mean, but yeah, he's listed me as a witness. I've talked to the state attorney, and they're like, "We don't want you as a witness. You weren't there. Like, you have nothing to do with it."
Do
but
people do this kind of stuff a lot?
To me,
well, to any public.
I mean, look, I get harassed.
Like, I'll go bigger picture.
Yeah.
Say the president of the United States. I imagine that, like, for their own stupid little reasons, people might try and subpoena them to something, and they're like, "I'm not going to mess with that."
Yeah,
I'm kind of thinking this is along those lines. Like, do you have any legal responsibility to?
If I am served, and I don't get out of it, then yeah, I have to.
Well,
I have to show up.
But you said you had nothing to do with these cases, and I don't know anything about the cases.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what questions they want to ask me. I intend to do everything I can not to find out, but this Miss Travis is allegedly a hard left radical. And I mean, she has a reputation in the legal community that is not a good one.
Right.
Is she his attorney? Robert Burns' attorney?
Both. She is an attorney in both of these cases.
Okay.
The Jennifer Jenkins v. Matt Susan School Board. She is Jennifer Jenkins' attorney. Mm-hmm. In the State versus Robert Burns criminal case, she is Robert Burns' attorney. And Miss Jenkins and Mr. Burns have been dating, so they're very close, and so there's that relationship there. But she is both of their attorneys, even though those cases have nothing to do with each other. One is some sort of public records case, and one's criminal, but she represents them both. And they wanted to depose me on the records case Friday. And and I've seen this online, they wanted to depose me in the criminal case in sometime in December. So same attorney And again, I would presume the one they were trying to serve here was the Burns deposition because he reached out to me. So obviously his attorney told him, Randy Fine's trying to evade service. He's hiding in his office. And then he sent me that email. But they didn't leave anything here.
Okay. And he sent this email to Anna?
No. He sent that email came to 2 email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
randy.fine@myfloridahouse.gov, which is my official
I see
email
it here.
that you guys pay for. And then he also sent it to my personal email, which is randy@voterandyfine.com. So it came
I
to
see
2
that,
separate
yeah.
email addresses.
Okay. And it just has her name. Is that her name out here?
Can
The
I see
Anna Budko?
No, she just printed it out.
Okay. So that has nothing to do with the email on top?
No. The email addresses were... Anna
I see
also
that.
has access. Anna also has access to my official email. So so you can see the personal email address here, and this Fine, Randy. That's the official. And Anna has access to my email.
Okay. Yeah, I just needed to make sure that's why that's on there.
But he sent it to mine. She also has her own email address, but it was sent to my official email address. And it just I talked to an attorney, and they said all of this is illegal on many different levels. So you can't harass witnesses in your case. You can't hire a non-process server to deliver a
It's
summons.
kind of what I'm interested in, though. But you said you're not even a witness.
He thinks I'm a witness.
So this is kind of more or less drummed up. Like, they just drummed up, hey, let's bring Randy Fine into this.
Yeah, well, I called the state attorney to let him know about this. Because I thought he might be able to. I called the state attorney prosecuting the case because I wanted him to know. And he told me, he's like, look, I think they're going to try to make an argument that you colluded with Phil Archer to somehow go after Robert Burns. That's and by the way, other than asking me to be a witness, they've also, and I'm dealing with this separately, they have subpoenaed my cell phone records in the criminal case. My cell phone records between myself and the victim, as well as 4 other phone numbers, which I didn't recognize, so I Googled them, and there are 4 different phone numbers associated with the state attorney's office. So they've subpoenaed my...
How did they do that?
They filed a subpoena with the court.
Well, yeah, but is that your personal phone, or is that like a
It's my personal phone.
Is that a public record phone?
No, I mean it is if I use a phone for anything you do in politics. Doesn't matter if it's personal or official. If it's official business, it's a public record. You can't do official business on your personal phone. But by the way, nothing having to do with this would be official business. But yeah, they filed a subpoena, and I'm actually going to, I think, have Alan Landman, who's an attorney, file a motion to say, no go here. But yeah, they're just trying to.
I mean, we can't even subpoena records. With a warrant, we can go get pertinent information, but that's why I asked if it was like a public records thing.
No, this isn't a public records request. This is I only know that they're subpoenaing my phone records from Verizon because
they notified you?
Nobody's notified me. I only know because a friend of mine, the friend who gave me the advice about what to do here, happened to go look at the state versus Robert Burns, and he's on the clerk's website, and he said, "Did you know they've filed a subpoena with Verizon for your cell phone records?" And I said, no. And so he sent it to me. That's the only reason. Verizon hasn't told me, and the court hasn't told me.
Well, Verizon, I mean, when we do subpoenas, a lot of times it says do not notify the person.
I don't know whether it says that or not, but
I mean, I can only assume that it would.
So, well, but that's that. Yeah, in both of these cases, I have nothing to add. But this Robert Burns has harassed me, and Miss Jenkins has harassed me for years. And so, obviously, their attorney is willing to get in on it.
Have you ever considered filing for an injunction against Mr. Burns?
As a public official, it's extremely difficult to get a restraining order.
Okay. Typically I would just say that to a random person, but in your situation, I could see where that would be different.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult as a public official to get a restraining order. And so, no, I haven't done it, but I've talked about it at times, and I've been told you probably won't get it. You're an elected official. Now, who knows? Maybe this stuff will rise to that level, but yeah, I mean, so it's bizarre. I have nothing to do with either of these cases, nothing. And so it's just more harassment. But I would like to see the fake process server held accountable. I'd like to see the attorney held accountable for hiring him and for threatening me. And again, we have the voicemail. And I'd like Burns held accountable for obviously being involved in all of it and sending me that email when he is demanding I be a witness in his case. He shouldn't be communicating with me and sending me taunting messages.
Okay. And I can't think of anything else. Can you?
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
it is. It's interesting, and like I said, this isn't, something that we deal with a lot. So
No.
I mean, it'll go through our legal team, and we'll, if we can press charges, I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a multitude of, and again, Anna will be able to talk to you about her experience. And apparently, this is, you'll have to ask him, but apparently the guy went into Tobias' office, which was open, and asked if there was a back door that he could use to get in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think those people, by nature, by what they do, I think they have to be a little bit tricky to try and get to people and
Yeah.
find you, hey, I got you, you're served.
I understand, but he's not a process server.
Well, there's that, so we got to confirm that. I mean,
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I understand. Apparently, according to this friend of mine who has access to the list, he was. He was, but didn't renew his license. Didn't do so. Years ago, he was a process server, but he is not presently one.
yeah, but
So,
go ahead.
is there a back door to this
Nope.
place? There's not. So, okay.
No, there's only one. There's one way in, one way out. I mean, I guess you could knock out a window.
Yeah, I mean, you being an elected official, I'm kind of surprised that you park right in front, don't even have blinds on the windows. I only say that for your safety.
I know.
because
Well,
if
it's
you're
ironic that you say this, but the speaker has asked me, and it's on my list to move my office, and I may be moving my office into the Melbourne.
Yeah.
The Melbourne courthouse
Yeah.
has apparently a big, open, unused
I'm just-
office space.
I'm just-
I understand it.
I'm
So
looking at what I'm seeing right now, and you're just very open and vulnerable.
yeah. So that's on our list of things to do. We're going to move.
I would move that up.
We're going to move
I mean,
the
if you're
office.
dealing with a lot
Yeah,
of stuff
no,
like
he
this.
wants us to. Speaker asked me to move my office behind a metal detector. So, and there aren't a lot of places in Brevard County where you can work behind a metal detector. A courthouse is one.
Yeah.
So the county commission has said the whole second floor of that courthouse is open, and they said have at it. So I need to go over there and look at it. But once I do that, we're going to move.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anything else?
Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, we've got the pictures. When you want, I have the pictures on my phone.
Yeah, I'll grab all those.
And we have the voicemail. It's probably still on the machine, but we also made a recording of it with our phones, and we've transcribed it. So those would be the things that I would give you. Would be
Okay. Yeah, we'll grab anything we can before we leave. Do you swear everything you've told us is the truth?
I do.
All right.